So hello friends, how are you doing? I'm basically making this video, which is going to be about the scopolamine topic slash getting drugged on dates here in Medellin, and I'm going to look sometimes over here, so because I got my notes. Yeah, I'm making this because this has happened recently to me. Yeah, so that's why I'm making this, and I'll make basically this video will be divided into a foreword, and then I'll talk about what happened, and then the mistakes I made and what you can avoid. Okay, but the too long did not read version is basically be paranoid when you go on dates. You know, through apps, actually through the apps in Medellin, so you don't get scopolamine. You know, which is basically this drug. So let's get into the foreword. First point, basically about the locals. You know, when I go around and interact with locals, and they ask me how I like Medellin, and this is something that sits on my mind. And it's so absurd. I kind of have to talk about it, okay? And with them. And so the main point is that basic security, you know, because we're talking about basic security here. If you have to watch out on a normal date to not get drugged, being taken advantage of, and get your ass robbed. So basic security cannot be traded for anything for me, you know. And this is a little bit the situation over here, I feel. And so that's the first point, which you know is very important. And the second point is that I've gone now on some dates, and honestly, most of the time, I've been tried to be treated like a money bank, or and pretty bluntly on top of that. Okay, so there has also been some welcoming women, of course, but unfortunately it really was the minority, and this is normally not happening to me. Okay, so because I've dated in many countries, many cultures, but this level of bluntness and exploitation, I think, is pretty new to me, and it's strange. And number three, and the most important point of it, I think, is just the general situation here. You know, what the mood is like, how I feel, and basically I feel that the situation over here is a little bit explosive. And what I mean with that, I mean most of the inhabitants of Medellin who I've met, who by the way call themselves paisas, they think very highly of their city. Okay, so and this is not you know to be taken for granted, and not the case in all cities I've traveled to. Okay, so I think it's something peculiar to here, and I feel that there is a certain amount of pride and internal cohesion among the inhabitants of Medellin. Okay, which again they call themselves paisas. So, and again, whenever I've been asked by locals about how my stay was, and when I've then addressed this point of you know being drugged, and which I also have had confirmed by other internet news, you know, that this is something that is fortunately happening over here. I've then heard locals say that gringos are coming here. So gringos, I think, it's mostly used for the North American citizens, but also it does extend to you know Western citizens for some. You know, it's kind of a little bit of a vague term, but basically what they're saying is that gringos are coming here for sex tourism and to exploit underage kids sexually, and that there has even now been a check that when the gringos enter the borders, some are given a background check to see if there has been in their history cases of sexual abuse. And obviously this is a terrible situation, and that Interpol, you know, opened an extra office here for that in Medellin. Okay, so you got a little bit this situation here. So just to recap, you basically have on one side the gringos who are coming to exploit the you know the kids and you know the persons. And let me tell you something. I mean, I've said now mistakenly, I should add, due to negligence and misinformation here in the Poblado area in Medellin, which reminds me very strongly of Pattaya in Thailand, which I had visited for half a day many years ago. where there's a similar situation, vibe, and environment, which I really don't understand honestly. And so this is, I think, like happening very much in El Poblado area again. And so we got basically this side, and then on the other side we got the inhabitants of Medellin, the paisas, that are then basically pissed off against that, are very cohesive, very let's say very united, within their community, and basically want to fight, let's say, this foreign invasion. And then where basically these girls scopolaminize, I don't know how you call it, guys, sometimes with serious consequences. I've heard that you can die of this. And even though through a series of circumstances, which I will tell you in a second, this obviously did not happen to me. And so basically I ended up being in the middle of this situation, being affected by this, okay? And even though I thought that and hoped that through my experience in travels and moral conduct, I could dodge this bullet, so I was not directly involved in any of the above mentioned situations. Okay, so I really went on a normal date, no drugs, no prostitution, no exploitation involved. Okay, and so since this took me by surprise, it affected me personally. I just wanted to share this story with my fellow friends and acquaintances who I connected with online over the years, so to raise some awareness about this. And should anybody ever in Medellin, and to spread the word, and if they end up in a similar situation in Medellin, okay. So last point of the foreword and preface, and then I'll tell you what happened. So what's the conclusion then after this for me already? If I'm looking at the end result, is that, the whole situation is not okay, but more importantly, like as a neutral traveler, this collateral damage is not okay. Okay, I mean, I'm here to explore new culture. I'm escaping European winter, and for a mix of and number of political, economical, sociological, and cultural reasons that goes now beyond the scope of this video. The scopolamine thing is happening, and trust me, it is happening because it's all over the internet. And I simply cannot live with that, or better live, or stay, or reconsider to come again to a city where this is happening, for in the dating game. So, I have basically this fear of this happening, and the moral fact of this happening is also kind of pretty bad, So let's get into it. What happened basically? And so I kind of matched with this girl on Tinder, actually in Bumble, and she was the most cutest, innocuous girl you could, petite girl you could think of, and we went then basically on a date. And I was staying in Laureles at this point, and she was from Robledo, which is basically an area a little bit north from Laureles, which I later on checked, and it's a little bit, not the best area, I should say. And so we met. We went for in Laureles for having a slush, an ice cream slush, and then she was already chatting a little bit during the date, and then all of a sudden we finished the slush, and we had to, she had to go to the bathroom. And then since the restaurants don't let outside guests so easily in, or to be fair, like maybe they do, but we didn't find any. And my place happened to be 10 minutes next to it, and next to the place. Then we basically went there. Okay, then we went there, and we started to watch some TV, and then we kind of ordered a red wine. And while then this red wine arrived, and very important thing that I forgot to mention, basically the apartment where I was staying which is an apart hotel, they basically have this security measures in place, which when you basically bring a guest, you have to send them their passport or their ID, okay? And due to basically her having to go to the bathroom and kind of having this pressure, I skipped this step mistakenly, okay? And she just, there was the front office clerk, and she just wrote down on a piece of paper her name and her number, ID number, you know, without having anything checked. And then we basically went upstairs to the apartment. So as I was saying, like this wine arrives, we ordered through a food app, wine is poured, and then I had some iced tea in my fridge, you know, and she basically added this iced tea into the wine glass, you know, and I was like, oh, that tastes funny, you know. Didn't want to, you know, maybe it's a cultural thing that they do over here, but you know, I drank it for a little bit, and you know, this was happening it was in the evening, okay, and so it was a little bit dark already, you know, so you couldn't see exactly, we were on the terrace, so you couldn't see exactly what was happening with the hands, and yeah, I tried this wine, it doesn't convince me, I throw it away in the sink, you know, and then she also kind of had something in her hand, and I was aware of all the things, you know, like you know, I was let's say cautious and careful, because I've heard about this scopolamine thing. So I asked her, hey, what do you have in your hand? And she said, oh no, nothing, it's just a lipstick and so forth. So basically, to make a long story short, I throw away this wine, she pours in another glass, again it tastes funny, and then the next thing you know, couple of minutes later, basically is the last we're drinking this wine, and at my place, and that's the last thing I remember. After waking up at 7 o'clock in the morning, basically 8 hours later, on my bed without a phone. Okay, and you know, it was not. I'm telling this to friends and people I know, and address it, and you know, this experience, it was more than anything surprising, because it just happens very quickly, you know, you don't even realize it. And so just woke up, and then, you know, my phone was gone. Luckily I had hidden my computer and my wallet and other stuff, and this was all still there, so I checked with WhatsApp, and messaged her and through WhatsApp on my computer, and said, hey, where's my phone, where are you, what happened? And then she tried to respond a couple of times, but then she blocked me. And through the computer I tracked my phone, and I basically then during the day went to this place, which was a park, Obrero Park, next to where I was staying. And I went looking for the phone over there, because I saw that the last location was there, basically at 7 in the morning. And while I was there, you know, asking people, I was asking one guy, and he just, you know, got his, while I was talking with him, like the pusher arrived and like brought him some money and some drugs, and he kind of hid it, made a hole in the garden, which was in the park, and like buried the money there while I was talking with him, and so it wasn't the best environment really. And yeah. Then I went ahead and you know, went to the authorities and basically made a report about that. Okay, so this is basically what happened. Okay, and so yeah, let's talk then about the last part of this video, which is then what are the mistakes that I made and what can you avoid. Okay, I mean, if you take one thing away from this video, it's just please be paranoid and not careful. Meaning, I was careful. I took most of the precautions, you know, basic precautions, but pretty good precautions. I mean, didn't have my other stuff stolen, luckily, as well. But I let my overly sense of security and my attraction to her, to my date, you know, and my ingenuity blind me. So be paranoid instead, please. Okay, that's number one. Number two, better safe than sorry. You know, if you notice anything, and I mean anything which is out of line, out of normal, don't make the mistake of thinking that it is, like me, a cultural difference or local custom. I mean, don't be afraid to get rejected. Don't be afraid of not appearing polite. You know, better err on the side of caution over here. Okay. I'm talking only about the dating app game. Okay. Um, not how you approach people in general, obviously. And then the third point is take all the preventive measures that you can, because once you are in the situation, it is already too late. Okay. I basically felt nothing. I just blacked out from 1 second to another and woke up 7-8 hours later. You know, and I'm a tall, muscular, a sporty guy, but I still got knocked out without having a chance to fight. Okay, so and they can already also spray to you. Okay, so the weapon, this kind of weapon, this scopolamine is silent, it's lethal, and it's perfect to be used from a physically weaker person to prevail, right? So take preventive measures, and I think it's the only way. Right, next point is for us to take a picture of her personal ID and passport and send it to a friend and ask them to download it to their phone. So, I mean, if she declines that, that's already a red flag. And again, be paranoid, and better safe than sorry. Okay, so why should you do that? Because if something happens, you still have a reference point, you know? And that's the mistake I made. Like, she as I was saying, she registered in the reception, but I did not send the apart hotel where I was saying host the ID as requested, and that was a fatal mistake, because obviously she just wrote some fake facts down on a piece of paper, and you know, how many other situations have I dodged because I asked for the ID, okay, which for somebody who might have want to scopolamine me, okay. Number 5 is never leave your drink out of sight, okay. Like, she mixed the tea with the red wine, probably to make the bad taste of the scopolamine, which is, by the way, very Swedish, like very, very sweet. Like, it comes, I think, from a flower, you know. You know, that I think she used that techniques to make it feel justified, you know, maybe the taste, you know, between tea and wine, you know, so I wouldn't get it. Anyways, this was number 5. Number 6 is don't give in to pressure, you know. She said, you know, she had to go to the toilet, and we rushed to my apartment because of that, but safety first, be paranoid, be safe, okay. And next one is don't let her image fool you. Okay, like women over here in Medellin, they are some of the most beautiful I've ever seen. Very beautiful, cute, you know, very feminine and so forth. And she had the cutest, petite, most innocent-looking face, but don't get fooled. Okay, just don't get fooled. And again, also, then another point is check what neighborhood she's coming from. I mean, this doesn't have to be, you know, just a generic topic, but again, I'm trying to, you know, make you aware of all the signals you could capture that could then lead to you being preventive about this, okay? And then another point is, for example, during the date she was occasionally chatting with someone, you know, and what might have happened there is, like, she might have been updating her partner in crime life. So I think that's what happened away, or to me. So point number 10 is hide your stuff or lock it away. You know, that kind of saved my belongings. I've had to, you know, get my new phone now, new SIM card, and which, by the way, the phone was very old, like scratched, and to be honest, I wanted to change the phone already. So, you know, maybe deep down in my heart, it's not a big loss, but like, that saved my belongings. So I had secured my wallet and my computer in a safe space before the date, okay? Otherwise, she would have probably stolen that together with my phone as well, okay? And the last point is, if possible, live together with another friend. You know, a friend has joined me now on my trip, and we're sharing accommodation. We look out for each other, and this adds obviously as well complexity to the thief in case of theft. Okay, but is also adds opportunity, because maybe somebody, like I bring home somebody or my friend brings home somebody, and then they have the opportunity to rob my stuff as well or his stuff as well. So I always lock my bedroom, at night if some guests are around. So yeah, that was already it. Thank you for your patience. I hope this helped you, give you some insights, and remember, be paranoid on dating apps in Medellin. Take care.